Hi, my name is Elijah Passmore. I'm an 18-year-old cinematographer, and this is me yapping about my first year in my freelancing journey. I've never really done YouTube. I've always wanted to. I kept telling myself I would and pushing it off because, maybe work or anything. I would find a reason to push it off, but I guess part of my New Year's resolution was to finally start my YouTube channel. And it's a little bit of a mental barrier that I have on it. I guess worried about, people's perception of me and if I can live up to all of these cinematographers on YouTube I watch, who do so many great things and have so much to talk about. And I think that my motive for starting this channel comes from maybe a little bit of a different place. I'm not where a lot of these cinematographers that I watch on YouTube are at, and I would like to be. My goal for this channel is to build relationships with other cinematographers and to, maybe source projects or share any knowledge I have for people who are just starting out like I am. If I can accomplish any of those goals, I think that this channel will be a success. I guess I've been around cameras since I was about 15. I turned 18 this year in September, so I have maybe 3 years, of camera work, but it wasn't linear. Like I didn't just go like that. So I think, when I was 15, I just was on, I just walked on to some, no budget short film or whatever, and there was a camera and I thought it was super cool and I wanted to get involved. And there's something about something about the energy and how everybody's working together and everybody's trying to accomplish a similar goal. And, on so many sets, there's so much respect for leadership and trust in other people's visions, and I love how people will work hard towards that, sometimes, without even pay, which is what I did for probably my first, 6 or 8 months. I didn't take any pay. I just kind of was an extra hand on random sets because people knew that they could get me to be an extra hand. I didn't even ask for gas money. So it's super easy to get involved that way. And I think you'll be surprised how fast you get a paid job if you're just around cameras, and you are a good person, or at least can pretend to be one. It's a crazy thing to say. Well, anyways, so I ended up joining a production company, working with a team, getting paid very little for maybe a year or so. And that was great for me because I got to travel a lot. I got to work quite a bit. And it was great for me to learn, but it wasn't at all cutting it pay-wise. It wasn't enough. Wow, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Anyways, okay. So last year, I stopped working with that production company, and this year in March, I bought my first camera. It was a Pocket Cinema 4K camera, Blackmagic. It's like the go-to starter camera, right? But it was a great first camera for me. I loved it. It taught me a lot. I started creating my own little things. I'm not really good at finishing my own projects, but, I was able to shoot some stuff and I was diligent in that and learned a lot just from having my own camera. Learned so much faster than when I worked for people using their equipment. Having my own, it means it could be, Tuesday at 4 p.m. and I want to see if something would look good. You know what I mean? You can't do that if you don't have your own equipment. And I had very basic starting equipment. I didn't have much audio at all or anything like that. I started booking jobs, and I did this by people, you hear, at least I hear cinematographers and DPs and anybody in pretty much any freelancing industry say, okay, I get most of my work from references. And maybe there are situations where when you're starting out that's the case, but for me it wasn't. I've only recently, I would say in the last like 3 or 4 months, started getting more jobs based on reference, and thank God. But for the first half of the year, the way I got my jobs was Facebook groups. I don't know if it applies to everybody. You probably have to be somewhere where, work is needed. I am not in a great market right now. I am in Orlando, so Orlando is not great for film work or anything like that. Florida has no incentives, so everything here is non-union and pretty small. So I don't think I'm in a great market, which is why I am stressing on using Facebook and stuff like that. I just looked in my area, seeing like what paid film or production Facebook groups I could find, and then just always trying to be one of the first people to email or reply to the post or message or whatever way you were able to contact the people posting. Sometimes it would be, I need a first AC, or I need a second AC, or I need a camera operator, or I need somebody to film this event, or whatever it is. And any set where you have responsibility, or any production or any event where you have a responsibility to a department, I think is great practice. So I did everything. I did sound, I did first ACing, second ACing, camera operating, cinematographer, all of these things, and anything that I could do on set, I would, because if they hire you, it's only experience, and there's no harm in applying. So you might say, oh, this job is out of my league, or like I'm not there yet, but there's no harm in reaching out. For example, I saw a post a while back. So it was a call for a camera operator in Jacksonville, and they needed it for a Discovery Channel show. And, I was very new, and, I had my Pocket 4K, and I was very new into cinematography at the time, like freelancing wise. But I was like, screw it, I'm gonna apply anyways. And I actually booked that job and continued to work with them multiple times, and I'm still in regular contact with the producer today, and I'll be joining them next season as well. And it just goes to show that some people just need somebody. And if you work out, you work out. And if you don't work out, you don't work out. And that's kind of it. So I say anything you can apply for, anything you would want to do or would be beneficial to your career or your financial situation or whatever it is, just apply for it. You know what I mean? I think that's really important. And if you don't know something and you need to know something for the job, learn it. And learn it on set if you have to. So I also do some acting and modeling on the side, which I don't get the majority of my jobs from, but across those 3 things that I all started this year freelancing wise, I have booked over 30 jobs, and that's from March to December, and I am very grateful for that. And there's always going to be a little voice inside of me that tells me I'm not doing enough, but when you can reflect and be content with a number, or know that I tried my best this year, I think that's a good feeling, and that's something I'm riding a high on right now. One thing I struggled with earlier on, and I guess I'm still working on, I'm very new, but is deciding what I'm worth. And not like on an existential level, but just in day rate value. So that's something that if you're just starting out is kind of difficult, because a lot of us starting out are very eager for jobs, and maybe we're okay with just like working for nothing for a long time. Or maybe we value ourselves too much, and so we don't get as much work, and then finding out that sometimes it's better to lower your rates so you can get more jobs, and that actually pays off much more. So how I decide my rate now is very subjective. So it's always going to be based on the person that's hiring me, like the connection I have with them, what the production involves, and if it's something I'm passionate about. And that kind of decides what I'm willing to work for. I don't do unpaid work anymore unless my buddy needs help. Then I'm always going to do that. Starting out, I was working for very little. I mean, when I was 16, I worked pretty much that entire year at it's crazy, like $100 to $150 a day, which is poor, very poor. It's terrible. But at the same time, I would have done it for free. So if you're in that situation where you would do it for free, then kind of take what they give you and go from there. So I don't take insanely low pay anymore, like $100 a day or like $200 a day, unless it's for a friend or that. And I do that because I don't want my reputation to be somebody who takes small work. And also, in this economy, it doesn't make sense to dedicate a day for minimum wage. What I will say is I've seen my job values going up and the payout from each project becoming larger and larger, as well as more work in a lot of ways. And I did make more this year than I thought I would going into it. I thought that it would take longer than it has, and I'm very grateful for where I'm at. I mean, one thing is I definitely do invest a lot of the money I make back into equipment, and I have bills and all that, so I do have to make enough, and have been able to grow my equipment as well, and that adds a lot of value onto the work you get, because when you apply for something and you can bring a equipment package with you and cover all the production's needs with your package, that is a big deal, and people are willing to pay a lot more for that. And I'm not saying that if you're just starting out, you should buy a red and build out your package immediately before you get any work. It was definitely a natural arc. It was like, okay, this production, I need a set of good wireless lavs, and if I don't have them, then I need to rent them, and so I should just buy them because I know I'm going to use those in the future. And that's definitely how it was. It was like a natural arc of equipment buying because it just made sense. So yeah, that was 2024. I'm super grateful. I learned so much, and I'm really excited to apply all of that in 2025 and continue this journey, as well as I've got a few projects already lined up, and I'm super excited to share those with you guys. If anybody has any suggestions for the channel or critical comments, I definitely want to hear those, as well as what you guys are interested in seeing. Like if you want to see my pre-production processes or prep days, or even like on-set vlogs or anything like that. If that's anything that you guys would be interested in, please let me know, because if it is, I'd be happy to share that with y'all. So yeah, there was my first video.